This is lesson one from the English vocabulary in use advanced level. So let's study and focus.
Study and exams.
Before an exam, some students cram for it. Even if you're a genius, you'll have to do some revision. If the exam happens every year, you can revise by looking at past papers. Some things can be memorized or learnt off by heart, but rote learning is not sufficient for most subjects. It is also possible to use mnemonics. However, all things considered, the best idea is to bury yourself in your books and to study intensively until you know the subject inside out.
So before we discuss B1, as you can see, there are lots of useful expressions, and I really recommend that you take a look at the right side, I'm making it a bit bigger so you guys can see it clearly. I really recommend that you take a look at the definitions and learn them. For example, and also pay attention to instruction. It says mnemonics, right? Here we check one of them just to make sure.
Mnemonic.
Mnemonic. So if you have been pronouncing like mnemonic, then it would be wrong. So mnemonic. And this is the US version.
Mnemonic.
Mnemonic. So remember it. Now keep learning.
E. Academic writing.
Composition. Could be just 50 to 100 words, often used for schoolwork. Essay. Longer than a composition, more serious, hundreds or thousands of words. Assignment. A long essay, often part of a course, usually thousands of words. Project. Like an assignment, but emphasis on students' own material and topic. Portfolio. A collection of individual pieces of work, may include drawings and other examples of creative work, as well as writing. Dissertation. A long research-based work, perhaps 10 to 15,000 words, for a degree or diploma. Thesis. A very long, original, research-based work, perhaps 80 to 100,000 words, for a higher degree. For example, a PhD. It's a good idea to start with a mind map when preparing an essay. Always write a first draft before writing up the final version. Your essay should be all your own work. Plagiarism is a very serious offence in colleges and universities. It is an increasing problem because it is so easy to cut and paste from materials available on the internet, and students have to sign a plagiarism form to say that the work they are handing in is all their own, and that they acknowledge any sources they have used. There is usually a deadline. After the essay is submitted, it will be assessed, and usually you can get feedback.
So now let's analyze a little bit. As you can see, there is a difference, right, between all of it, like between essay, assignment, project. So if possible, revise them again and, just really learn them by heart. For example, while we do composition usually at school, we usually do the thesis, right? When you're applying for a PhD, perhaps 80, 100,000 words for a higher degree. So, and here are some ideas on how to do that. And let's take a look at the final section.
C. Aspects of higher academic study. University academics carry out research and are expected to read academic journals, which publish papers or articles on specialized subjects. If a library does not have a copy of a book or journal, you may be able to access it online, or you can usually get it through an interlibrary loan. Open educational resources are particularly convenient for many students. Academic study can be very demanding, and some students drop out, but the majority survive till finals and become well-qualified members of their future professions.
So now, if you have understood, there's one difference. Like, as you can see, academic journals is different than magazines. Magazines is usually can cover like sport, fashion, and just, in general, other things. But when it comes to like university stuff, right, related stuff, usually professors and these students and other people who work in this sphere usually publish their articles or papers in academic journals, not in just regular magazines. So hope these words and everything has been useful by the experts, right? You have heard from the native speakers. Now take a look at the exercise. Maybe I will like give my thoughts on how to do it, and then you can do it yourself. So here's we need to just change the word because we got the wrong word. So for example, in first one, you can guess it that with PhD we don't usually say assignment, right? But we usually say thesis because we write only thesis to apply for a PhD. Or like at school you don't write the dissertation. What was it? Composition, exactly. So it's absolutely okay if you make a mistake. I have even made mistakes myself, so you can always check from the end of the book. Now the second one, now you need to use these words, I mean change these words to from the opposite page. If you remember in the B section, I think we were given, and also in some of them in A section, sorry, for example, when we study in a very focused way, if you remember, it was intensively, right? And preparing hard was like cramming for an exam. So, and now you can answer these questions yourself. Like, what is the first attempt at writing something? It is a first draft. So, like this, you can answer the questions orally. And then, last one, you need to write a word now yourself. So, if you quote an article, you must acknowledge, right? Give the details of your source. Da, da, da. So, you actually have definition here. So, it's easy to find the words. So, hope the lesson has been useful. See you in the next lessons.